This weekend is another heatwave in New York. It's incredibly hot. But I think that a heatwave in August is different from a heatwave in June or July. You can still feel that the summer's ending. You wake up every day and notice that the sun is a bit lower and the trees are still green. But the greenness is not fresh anymore. It's kind of tired and dusty. Fall has always been my favorite season, even though after moving to New York, I think that my perception of it has changed a bit. In Moscow, fall really lasts only about 2 weeks. After that, there's usually a heavy rain or a week of heavy rains, and then all of the foliage is down and it's becoming really cold. And by October, you're very likely to have snow. In New York, September and October are the most pleasant months of the year. It's still very warm and sunny, and you get to see the very slow and beautiful foliage of the trees. It's not coincidental that a lot of classic New York movies are shot in the fall, I think. Also, since I moved to New York in September 3 years ago, I think that now fall has this very special romantic feeling to it for me. Because when I just moved, of course, everything felt like a movie, and I had this very sharp perception of beauty, which is now awakened in me by fall. It is a bit delusional of me to discuss fall when it's literally 100 degrees outside. Let me give you a written update. I finished Tropic of Cancer and I've just filmed a short format video about this, but let me just say that not every remarkable book is a pleasant read, and Tropic of Cancer is a great example of that. Yes, the narrator and the men around him have a pretty misogynistic view of women. However, there is so much beauty in this text, there are so many wonderful epiphanies. I literally dog-eared half the book, that I just think that it's very weird and honestly not very interesting to focus just on that. I also think that it's a very interesting read next to Henri and June by Anna Nin, who helped to edit and publish this novel. It's a debut novel of Henry Miller, and I don't think that he would have published it without her. It's just wonderful and beautiful to see their influence on each other when reading those texts next to each other. Then I mentioned that I started The Greenlanders by Jane Smiley, but to be honest, I don't even want to go get my copy right now. The book is so dull that I couldn't make it to 100 pages, and then I made a pact with myself that I'm going to make it to 50 pages before a DNF, and I just gave up on page 47. It's incredibly boring. I just couldn't make myself read it. So now I picked up Kitten, very different from both The Greenlanders and Tropic of Cancer, to kind of pull myself out of a reading slump that I didn't realize yet but was kind of forming as I was reading The Greenlanders. It's about a girl after college who is dating this guy who has a cat, and she becomes obsessed with the cat, I think. So far I'd say it's a classic coming-of-age lit fic novel, and if you enjoy those, I think that you're going to love it. I'm really enjoying it too. When it's so disgustingly hot outside, it is really hard to plan a fun activity for the weekend. However, usually if I don't do anything fun, I tend to regret it when the working week starts. So I think that I might go to a museum today. Let's see. First of all, I got a new camera. I hope it's recording and you can hear me fine. I apologize in advance for the noise outside. There's some construction work going on. I'm going to pause when it's too noisy. I'm at the Jersey Shore again because I wanted to catch another glimpse of the sun and the sea before the summer's over. I didn't really swim this summer, which is kind of a bummer. Last time I went to the Jersey Shore, the ocean was really cold and I couldn't make myself go. Maybe this time I'm a bit luckier. I think that last time we talked, I said that I'm reading Kitten. I finished it and I really loved it. I'm going to give a review when I'm back in the city, but I wanted to show you the books that I wanted to show you the 2 books that I brought with me to the beach. The first I started yesterday before going to bed. It's The Lost Estate. I've heard so many amazing things about it. People say that it broke their hearts, that it's about nostalgia and the time that will never come back. Very similar to Brideshead Revisited, A Month in the Country. Books that I absolutely love. From the first few chapters that I read, I think that I'm going to love it immensely. And then in case one book is not enough, I brought another one with me. It's What Am I Idea? I think I told you about it in the previous vlog, but it's a romantic comedy about a woman that becomes obsessed with a man who returned to her forgotten umbrella, so a complete stranger. I think that this one is going to be quite fun. So those are my weekend reading plans. I hope everyone has a fabulous swim, at least one this summer. I just filmed for 40 minutes and cancelled my recording, so let's do it again. This happens to me all the time, by the way. Microphone is turned off, the memory card is full. Sometimes it's really hard, you guys. But that's okay. I'm here to talk about the books that I've been reading, and I love them all, and I love talking about books with you guys, so it's gonna be okay. I think that one could argue that The Kitten is a classic coming-of-age literary fiction novel with a female protagonist, so if you don't like that genre, I would probably not pick it up. However, I thought that Kitten is very unique and it's doing really well what it's trying to do. I like the central metaphor of helplessness and the desire to be self and protected, which are, when you think about it, the character traits of a cat, and which make Katie, the main character of the novel, so drawn to Silver, her boyfriend's cat, because Silver gets to be everything Katie wants to be, but ultimately Katie has to face the reality and grow up. The reality is that she has no job, no money, no friends, about to be kicked out of her apartment, so there's really no way but to take agency over your life. But at the same time, I like that this transition doesn't happen magically overnight in the book. Instead, it takes dedicated effort and thoughtful choices to get there. I find it great that the book shows that with the problems and pain points of adult life, there also comes beauty of being equal with other adult people in your life, not thinking that they are these adults who have figured everything out and you are still a child, but instead, again, treating them as equals and being able to share each other's vulnerabilities. That is, to me, the beauty of adult life. Next book I read is The Lost Estate, which I think makes a perfect read for the end of the summer. Though I will say that a great book is great at any time of the year, so don't listen to me on that. I think it's just that for me personally, the end of the summer is a nostalgic period, and since the central theme of this book is nostalgia, I think it fits. Fun fact about this book is that apparently it inspired The Great Gatsby, which makes sense when you think about it, because the French name of it is Le Grand Meaulnes, and Meaulnes is the main character who is obsessed with nostalgia and the past. He shows up as the new boy in town and immediately wins everyone over, including the narrator, with his charisma and adventurousness. And one day he disappears and comes back with a story of how he has found this beautiful estate where there was this fascinating party where he's met the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. However, he can't remember his way back, and nobody gets to understand what estate is he talking about, so he spends the rest of the novel trying to find his way back. Of course, it is a metaphor to how nobody gets to go back to the golden days of their youth, but what I think is remarkable about this book specifically is that it shows that it's painful to, be that person who is obsessed with the past, but it's just that painful, if not more painful, to be close to such a person or to be a part of their fantasy and still be absolutely unable to help. It's also written in this beautiful fairy tale-like language, which makes it really sad that there are no other novels by this author, because he was killed in World War I, just in a year after finishing or publishing this book, I believe. And it's just incomprehensible that humans choose to fight in wars when there's literature and culture, music, love. Now I'm reading Water My Dear, and let me tell you that at first I almost DNF'd it. It was really hard for me to get into the novel, I think, because of the language it's using. It's stream of consciousness, what I typically don't like. And also, I don't even know how to describe it, but I guess the writing is very dense and almost like intoxicated, frenzy-like, feverish. However, it grew to be one of my favorite reads of this year. Is it National Flying Days? I swear to God, airplanes are flying every 30 seconds and I have to stop because it's so loud. You guys, filming is not for the weak. I think that the closest reference that I can choose to describe this novel is The Idiot by Alain Fournier, where Celine, the main character, is also in an unrequited love and she spirals in her head in this funny yet painfully relatable way. And there's a lot of smart and acute observations about the nature of language. If you loved The Idiot for those reasons, I think that you will appreciate this novel as well. What makes me a bit sad that What Am I Dear has even less of a plot than The Idiot, but I can't even be mad about it because I genuinely enjoy this book so much that I savor every page. I think that I have enough time to read one more book before the summer ends, so I'm picking between these two options. This one is An Archipelago, translated from Danish. Maybe you know that August is Women in Translation Month. I haven't read a single book written by a woman that was translated in the month of August, so maybe this would be a great pick. A Change of Time pieces together the life of a school teacher after her husband, the town doctor, passes away. Set in rural Denmark in the early 20th century, the narrator's journal entries form an intimate portrait of a woman rebuilding her identity. I also think that the title is great for the transition between summer and fall. In this book, I think I told you about in the last video, it's about a woman who has a secret ambition to become an artist, but instead she became the dutiful wife of a great statesman and mother to 6 children. I think that I'm going to love it, but for some reason I feel like for the last book of summer, this one does a better job. I don't know, what do you think?